Hey, hello. Have you ever had risotto? Have you ever made it? Does it scare you? That's okay. It used to scare me too. It's definitely one of those dishes that people have opinions about, including myself. Hi, my name is Ashley, and I'm here to share with you some of my favorite recipes to help you become more confident in the kitchen. If you like learning the whys and hows of cooking and want to be able to cook like a jazz musician plays, slap that subscribe button and stay tuned for more stuff. Let's get into it. So let's start. What is risotto? We all know, maybe we don't all know. Risotto is, you see it on menus and you're like, oh, why would I pay all that money for rice? Well, let me tell you, it is not just rice. It is also, maybe it helps if we talk about what risotto is not before we start. So risotto is not overcooked rice. Risotto can be made with things that are not rice, like small noodles or whatnot. I've had some pretty disastrous risottos, and it's not so much that it was the cook's fault or whoever was making it, it's just they probably didn't really understand the concept of it. So, alright, we know that it's not overcooked rice, which does exist. It's called, there's dishes like congee, jok, cream of rice cereal, cream of wheat is essentially overcooked broken rice. So risotto is, we want to use a medium grain Italian rice, like this nondescript brand here, and it's cooked, it's like a pilaf. When you take, the rice and you cook it, and what that does is it helps dry it out so that when you add the liquid, it's more absorbs it, and it creates almost, and the extra starch that's on the rice creates almost kind of like its own sauce, especially with the addition of either shredded cheese, a little bit of cream at the end. I've even done it where I've added ricotta to it. It's pretty much a blank canvas that you can make many different varieties with. It just depends on what your stock is and what aromatics you're putting in at the beginning. So since we're doing mushrooms risotto today, we're going to need a couple of the basic things and then a couple add-ons. So before we even get to chopping anything, we are going to start in a pot this big. Alright, before we begin chopping anything, we're going to want to put our broth on the back burner, just on low. You want it just below a simmer. So like if you were going to poach an egg, about that temperature, because having our broth hot when we go to make our risotto after we've done the step of where we saute the rice and get it a little dried out, process go even faster. It's like, why would you add something cold to something hot if you're trying to cook it? Because, science, thermodynamics and stuff like that. So I'm going to put on the back burner, I'm going to put our broth, and I might put a couple pieces of onion and celery tops in there just to kind of add to the flavor, as well as a nice tablespoon of our Vegemite to use as kind of like a bouillon base. So I'm going to do that first, and then we're going to get chopping. Right, we're doing our little beefed out stock, no pun intended because it's a veggie stock. So we're just going to add the leaves of these celeries, since we're going to chop the rest of it up and put it in. I don't know why I didn't just cut that like a smart person. Plop those in there. I have this leftover half an onion from dinner the other night, so plop that in there. And if you have dried mushrooms, that would be like a perfect extra addition to this. But I don't have any right now. So we're going to put our veg broth in. And then we're going to put in our, we want about a quart. 4 cups equals a quart. We want a quart plus. So this, don't spill it all over the table like I did. And this is the rest of my broth. It was about up to here for that whole container. So it was about 5 cups total.
I added another 2 cups of water because we're going to put in our Vegemite. So first we're going to chop our onions and our celery. So first things first, take the skins off. We're going to want to chop off the top and then the bottom. So it's handy at this point to have like a garbage bowl situation. So then we can just take our scraps and put them right in there. And actually what I'm going to do with this peel is I'm going to throw it in with my stock so that it'll help, you know, bulk it out a little bit, give it some more, because there's a lot of flavor in these onion skins, and it's really helpful for like chickeny stocks or anything where you want it to have like a nice golden color. It definitely helps with that. So we've taken the top and bottom off. We're going to go right down the center, pull off this peel. Gosh, I can hear my dog groaning on the other side of the door because they're not allowed in here right now because they like to be under my feet and yell. And so how are you doing today? Now that we're, oh gosh, ooh, every time the onions, I don't know what's wrong with me. So I'm gonna do these. It's called a brunoise. So you're going to cut from like little half moons this way, like across the equator, and then you're going to want to take each one of those and cut those into smaller cubes so everything is kind of like the same size. So we're going to do a small dice, but small brunoise. Brunoise feed is when it's like those really teeny tiny minced onions and they just look perfect. They're all the same size. Oh, I'm going to have to go blow my nose. Man, I wish I was sneezing then. All the people who only liked my one cooking video because I was sneezing in it so much, because apparently that's a fetish. But alright, so see how I have these all in little well, half moon guys? We're gonna go and just follow around the edge of that. We've done this before. Boop, 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 boop. You don't want to do, but oh boy, those onions are really getting to my eyes. Now we're gonna do our tomatoes. We're going to do our tomatoes. We're going to do our mushrooms now, and I'm just going to slice them really thin, like you would find on a pizza. Actually, I am going to move these onions. Doing about a tablespoon of oil in the pan, heat it on medium, and then we're going to chuck our onions in there. Chuck the onions in. Alright, we got our onions and our celery going. They're starting to get a little translucent. We want to make sure we season those with some S. And we don't want to forget my favorite seasoning, other than MSG, I will say. But some black pepper in there. Give it a little stir. It's getting there. We're almost ready to add our mushrooms. So you can kind of see we're starting to get that little bit of brown fond on the bottom, and you know, I say let's do it. Let's let it happen. Anything, we're going to be deglazing with our brandy, so it'll just, you know, be that much better flavor. So alright, I think we're ready to finally add our mushrooms. We're going to throw those in, give them a stir, and get them nice and coated with some oil. It's gonna seem like a lot, but this is gonna cook down a whole lot. A lot. You might need to add a little bit more oil just to help things get going. And we talked about mushrooms before, I'm salting them ahead of time because it's gonna pull that moisture out and it's gonna help us cook them down even quicker. Concentrate that flavor. There we go. So this is our thyme from the window, and we're gonna just chuck this in with our mushrooms, and it's going to help release a lot of those volatile oils that get along so well with mushrooms. Just going to let those live in there, and we're just going to keep stirring. That's the name of the game here, is just keep stirring. And let those rock and roll for a few minutes. Alright, so we've been simmering about 5-ish minutes, maybe. probably more like 2.5. We can see our mushrooms are starting to break down a little, and they're nice and soft, but they look really like wet, like they're not getting any sort of browning on it. Well, believe me, all this water is going to evaporate, and then we might need to add a little bit more oil, but we're gonna get some really nice caramelization on the bottom of the pan, and then we're gonna deglaze with our brandy. So probably just another maybe 5 minutes or so, and then we'll check back on it. Okay, so you see how we got no puddles of moisture. Oh, there's a little bit. There's some there. See all that right there? We want that to be evaporated and reduced to have a mushroom flavor concentrated, but this right here, like that little onion bits, that brown, that is our fond. That's when the Maillard reaction happens. We talked about that before, but we want more of that, so then we can add our brandy and reduce or cook the alcohol off of that, and then we can add our stock, and then we can add our rissottes, and then yeah, you know, this shit right here. See that beautiful brown on the bottom of there? We're gonna add our rice, and then we're gonna add our brandy. Other way around, because you know, I don't know how to do things. Alright, at this point, getting a nice bond on here. I'm gonna turn the heat down to a little less than medium. Add some more oil. So this is 2 cups of arborio rice. It's not been washed, it's dry. So think like it's like a pea-bob sitch. Get all those grains out of there. I have this off the heat right now. Just going to stir it to make sure all the grains are coated. Alright, so we got all of our grains incorporated, and we're going to cook this just until it starts to show a little translucent around the edges. Just going to help get any extra. Oh, and we're going to pull out this thyme. Nobody wants to chew on that. Alright, you see how it's starting to get a little white and opaque now? Some of these grains are going to then become a little translucent around the edge. I'm going to add just a couple little glugs of this, just to be able to start scraping off the fond from the bottom of the pan. Oh, like just a shot, so like 1.5 ounces. Yeah, you know what time it is. Just accept it into your life. Ooh, that's too much. Well, you know, Uncle Roger wouldn't say it's too much. We're gonna really get in there with our spoon. Either something like this or like a flat-edged spoon. Actually, something like this would have probably been preferable, but whatever. We're just scrape all the fond off the bottom of the pan. You will definitely know when that alcohol is cooked off too. Plus it'll cook off during the cooking process. So at this point our rice is nice and translucent, and we're ready to start adding our stock in. So we're going to do it really slowly. We got our stock back here that we strained all the little extra bits and pieces out. And we're just going to do it little by little by little. We're going to just start with one because we still have a little bit of this fond. So I'm going to turn this around this way, because sometimes if I'm right-handed, I'll scrape more towards this part of the pot, and I'll like end up missing a bunch of spots. So we're going to do one nice ladleful. Actually, pull that a little closer. Stir, stir, stir. Alright, see how it's starting to slowly absorb in there? You can go a little faster in the beginning, but you want to take it easy towards the end. Do another one. Make sure you get all the ones on the sides there. You don't want any dry guys left behind. Stir, stir, stir. definitely something very, makes you be very patient. Makes you slow down to make risotto. So we're getting there. You really want to keep it more liquidy at first. You don't want to let it get too dry. So you might find that it starts going a little quicker towards the end, but you want to keep it a little soupy just at first. Stirring, I just added a little bit more water. We definitely want to make sure towards the end here that we don't let it get out of hand and get too dry, but we're getting almost to it. I just added actually a little bit more broth to my hot broth scenario because it looks like we might need a little bit more, but you know, we're just gonna keep going. All right, I'm gonna turn our heat down to in between low and medium, just because we're starting to get down to it. And keep adding our broth, and I'm gonna just go nuts right here. Oop. Give that a nice stir. It's gonna be very almost, I mean, it's brown, but it's beautiful. It's almost like got its own sauce, but kind of like a gravy. Which, if rice and turkey gravy, if you've never eaten that as a poor kid, I don't know who you are. Alright, so let's do another rice check. Pinch. Alright, we're getting there. Pinch. Oh, we got about 4 pieces there, so we're not far off. So I just pulled the risotto off the heat, but I put a little pan on and I chopped up some of the extra mushrooms that we had because I want to do a little bit of mushrooms on top as well as kind of like a garnish situation. So just about like a tablespoon of oil in there, mushrooms, little flippy flip. I'm not going to salt these because I want them to get super brown. You know, I'm still adding some broth. I'm just going to dump this out. Careful when stirring at this point because this is like napalm and it will really get. We got nothing down here, and since I used up all of my time earlier, I am going to take just a pinch of dried sage, just like the tiniest pinch because we don't want this to taste like Thanksgiving, but I do like to put some herbage in, herbologies. In with mushroomies. Oh, don't do that. Make sure we're constantly stirring. I have this risotto off the heat, but the residual heat of it and also the broth is still helping it cook. We're gonna add the rest of our broth in. So that was about 2 quarts of liquid all together, and you know, I probably would use the brandy again. I don't know why. I was thinking it was kind of more like cognac. It's been a while. It's been a long time. I don't know. It seemed right. I didn't have any white wine. I wanted to do some sort of alcohol sitch. So just give this a stir. Give this a toppy top. And what you can do, if you want to save this, if you want to put it away and maybe reheat it later, you can take this, spread it on a sheet tray really flat, and cool it in the fridge. And then when you want to go to reheat it, just take probably like a 1/4 cup of liquid per, alright, maybe less liquid than that, or maybe a 1/4 cup, and then maybe like a 1/2 cup or a 1/3 cup of your rice mixture. Then you heat the liquid up and then add the rice mix, the risotto to that, not the other way around, because otherwise this is full of a lot of starch. If it hits the bottom of the pan, it's going to clump and get sticky and burn. And then you will be really sad. back burner off. They're starting to get nice and brown. Alright, we're on the last leg of our, my butter. The last leg of our risotto. I have the heat turned off on here, but I'm going to put it back onto the burner because there's a lot of residual heat there. So this is about a quarter of a cup of butter, maybe a little less minus that dog hair. I'm going to add that in first before I add any of my other stuff. And I'm going to stir that to emulsify the butter in there. This is really awkward doing this with my left hand. We're going to add some of our Parmesan cheese, and you know, I'm not going to measure this because I don't want to. However much Parmesan cheese makes you happy, that's how much you should put in. Stir that to incorporate. Again, be careful, this is like napalm. It will stick to your skin and it will hurt real bad. Look at this brown, delicious brown color. I might add a little bit more water to this. In the meantime, I'm also going to add whatever the rest of this heavy cream I have laying around. That's about 2 or 3 tablespoons, or about 1.5 ounces-ish. Very slowly stir this in. A little bit more water in there. I like a looser risotto than opposed to one that's just a bunch of muck. Actually, probably should have put the butter in last to kind of also halt the cooking process. But this looks good. It doesn't look like the grains are broken at all. So now that our risotto is ready, we're ready to plate this up. Just cut up some of this scallion real quick. It's a little nice cut on the bias, and I need to sharpen my knife really bad. Yeah, that's. So I need to sharpen my knife. Don't come at me, okay? So we got a couple pieces of parsley here that we plucked. We got some of our nice basil tops. Let's pick a nice pretty one like that. And then we're gonna get our mole and do a nice scoop. And you know, I kind of want to do a glove of olive oil because it's me. And I kind of want to do a little bit of flaky salt. No, you know what? Too much, actually, too much. But we do need this. Just like a nice. Oop. Oh my gosh! Look at that. That is so thick. It's crazy. This is gonna be for my boyfriend because he's like okay with his food being room temperature, whereas me, oh, there's still some of these little thyme strings in here. Ah! Glug. Ooh, too much. And adding a little bit of Parmesan. And we're just gonna put some of these mushrooms on here. It's a little like, just so you know, like, hey, this is mushrooms. Nice. Do a little bit of our parsley leaves. Of course, you could always just chop this up, but you know, when you're making it for yourself, why not? You know, why not? Why not make a nice plate for yourself? You deserve it. And then maybe a couple scallions. I wish I had some chives, but I do not. And then basil leaf right in the middle. And there we go. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching. This was so much fun. This is one of my favorite recipes. Oh yeah, I gotta probably dig in here.
that's that. Ooh. Ooh. And you know, I didn't think it was going to be that mushroomy because, so partway, I didn't use mushroom stock, but holy shit, man. That's good. Damn. Well, wow. Alright, I gotta go finish this up so I can eat this. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Again, if you like this episode, hit that like button, slap that subscribe button. If you like cooking and you just kind of want to learn how to do things more just by touch and taste and looking, not so much recipes, but like the more you do it, the better you're gonna get at it. So again, thank you for joining me. Thanks a whole lot, and hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Bye! Autofocus, friendo. Whatever. Fly away forever. You're loser number 1. To loser 2. Population 1. That's me.